Yeah, all good. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Right then, let's just press mute all, just to make sure, just in case. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you all. It's been a while, and we know we're all very excited at some point to actually see each other live and not just on a screen, but we will get there one day. We're all heading in the right direction. So this is a session on the new Babs Polka, all about you, and just a bit of context about the song and the arrangement before we start. Al Hughes and Shanna got in touch with me just before Christmas, so I kind of got to a point where I'd forgotten that this arrangement existed. I think Monkey Magic, it was kind of one of our wedding repertoire kind of thing, just to pull out the bag that was probably a bit more solo. Actually, I think Al Hughes took the melody actually when we did it on those kind of times, and then it ended up turning into a arrangement in the female key, actually, to be fair, for Coventry Ladies Chorus under Tim Barkworth a few years ago. And I'd forgotten the arrangement existed until Al got in touch and said, we think this would be perfect for what we've got planned for Babs. So then a bit of a jig of the arrangement really to suit more of the men's to mixed arrangement. And there we go. Obviously, this is a McFly song by one of the main guys in that, Thomas Fletcher. He'd forgotten Valentine's Day for his now wife, then girlfriend. So he wrote this song instead. It's not a bad way to get around forgetting Valentine's Day of all dates, isn't it, for some people? But there we go. So this is just going to be, I'm going to be going through the whole arrangement in sections. I'm going to be playing quite a few different teach tracks. You're more than welcome to sing along with any of them once they're playing, just to get a feel for that. I'm just going to be guiding through some of the pitfalls in the arrangement, some things to keep an eye on if you're thinking of learning this as yourself as a quartet or with your chorus moving forward when it becomes available. And also, as well, guiding towards things I'd probably tweak from the teach track to a chorus scenario as well, just a little bit. Some of the choices on the teach track, I'd say, are perfect, and some I think we could just tweak a little bit to suit our choruses if we're going to learn it as a chorus. Simple as that. So I'm going to share my screen, and obviously feel free to jump in with any questions at any point. That's why it's great to have other people on this, not just me rabbiting on. There we go. So I'm going to share this throughout as we're on there. Obviously, you can change your view. If you've got a little window of people on the right-hand side of you, you can always change that. If you want to just see me or not see anybody or see more people, you can do that on Zoom accordingly. So let's go. We are in the key of C. Now, interestingly, on the track, they don't play the keynote. So just keep that in mind. They do play the start note because we all start on that G as we get to that. So as you are learning this, don't let that fool you as we get into there. They blow the start note, not the keynote. Obviously, we're all on unison, and we get this consistent ooh vowel opening up, and actually the tenors get to not breathe actually as they go through, as they ooh, oh. The tenors get to actually keep that sound all the way going for the intro. Now I'm going to start off with what my favorite duet for this intro, because it's the weirdest. I'm just going to play it and you'll hear what I mean. So this is just actually bass and Barry. Oh, it's not bass and Barry, bass and tenor even. Here we go. Have a listen to how weird, fantastically weird this is. I've got a thumbs up if you can hear the sound.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you. Now that's a weird duet, isn't it? It's fantastically moments of barbershop to not all at the same time. So as we get in that, there's interesting moments, and I'll put the other parts in a second just to give you that context. To be fair, but it's an interesting duet to hold because they've got to fight for the right. As we first hit the R, basses are more important than tenors. Tenors are the add note of that chord. As we get into this bar 5, as I'm looking at here, as we get to the 3 bars later, basses are the odd one out. We're on the 7th, which we don't often find ourselves as basses. So there's going to be some interesting micro tuning to do and listen to everybody else. Basses, you're going to hit that F at bar 5, and as each chord goes through, you're going to feel yourself lightening it a little bit and lifting it a fraction just to keep it in tune. If you just sit on it, it's going to sound very strange by the time we get to the end. The tenors will keep you constant as we go through that. So that's the weirdest one. I'm now going to play it without the bass though, just so you can hear how it sounds without that bass note as we reach the end of that intro. So this is bass missing just for a second. So that's the start note, not the key note.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And we get that nice clean chord at the end of the intro, don't we? As we hear there, without the basses in the mix at the end of that intro, it's a lovely clean chord, and that's where to tune to. Everybody, when you're working this with your chorus, make sure that top three is inset there, and it will give the basses an idea of where to slot into. But just for trade it off, actually, I'm now going to play tenor missing, just so you can hear how clean the start of those R's are as we get through there, and how interesting the bass gets there. So this is just tenor missing that intro.
One, two, three, four.
It's such a weird chord here without that root on the tenor part, isn't it? As we get to there, but as we hit that R on bar 5, the tenors the add note, they just get to sit comfortably on top. There's nothing to push. Leads, try not to go Pez Dispenser Barbershop. As we go, don't let the head tell you how high it is. You can keep the instrument, keep the alignment in check as you get to those kind of moments there. And obviously, there's a slight rit there on the music, on the track. They don't pull it quite enough, but in the room you can play with that. When you hear the original song by McFly, actually that really is pulled back quite a lot before that. It's all before we get into the song proper. Okay, let's scroll down a little bit on here. So I'm now going to carry on to bar 9. So you hear the track, and I'm going to skip the track forward a few seconds just to get into this bit. And I'm purposely, actually, I just want to play lead missing. I just want to take the leads out of the equation. So we hear these harmony parts, because I would probably recommend stagger breathing all the way to bar 18, to be honest with you, as you go through this. You hear on the track some different parts to make different decisions on when to breathe, compared with each other, like the bass, it's about you, you hear some snatch breaths sometimes from different parts. I would keep that consistent sound all the way through and stagger breathe it, and take one actually all the way just before go into the actual verse. Actually, to be fair, it's all about you. Yesterday you asked me something I thought you knew. Told. I'd hold out all the way to there if I was doing this with a chorus, definitely, because it's not many opportunities for us to unify those breaths around the melody. So here we go. I'm going to skip forward to bar 9, but I'm going to take the leads out of the equation just so we can hear those harmony parts. So lead missing. We're going to fast forward.
1,
You, it's about you, baby, you. It's about you, Yesterday you asked me something I thought you knew.
And you hear the quartet make the same decision there as well, of how, especially not breathing before bar 17, before the word yesterday, carry it on through. It's going to sound very awkward to try and snatch that breath as it goes in there. And also, you'll hear throughout this, as some of you might have noticed if you've listened, if you recorded this ready for the weekend, in this song, the quartet choose to do a lot of ch. It's all about you. I'd probably de-emphasize that as a chorus a fraction, or even decide if you wanted it all as a director. It's all about you. Whether you need that ch, how much ch they can bring into this arrangement at times, that's kind of up to the director to decide. But I'd be an advocate for just de-emphasizing that a little bit and not over-egging it. And a quartet can sound nice, fine. In a chorus, it's going to be very hard to line that all up. So I'm going to go back to the same thing. And actually, I just want to play lead and baritone actually as we're getting this, because they actually glance off. There's quite a lot of lovely tone clashes going on between this lead and baritone at various points. So I'm just going to hear lead and baritone from the same point. Where am I? Come on. There we go. This is bar 9 again.
1, 2, 3.
You, it's all about you, it's all about you, baby, you. It's all about you, it's all about you. Yesterday you asked me something I thought you knew, so I told.
We hear those little glancing tone clashes. Just encourage them not to fight each other on that. They're just passing. Get them to be. You don't have to push them through, trying to force against each other, fight each other. Be absolutely fine. I'm now actually going to play the whole part, actually, but all 4 parts from bar 9. And I'm going to carry on through into the verse just for a little bit, actually, just to get us a feel, because we haven't heard that 4-part mix yet. Gonna skip
1,
the
2,
intro.
3.
It's all about you. It's about you. It's all about you, baby. It's all about you. It's about you. It's all about you. Yesterday you asked me something I thought you knew. So I told you with a smile, it's all about you. Then you whispered in my ear and you told me to. Said you make my life worthwhile, it's all about you.
I'm going to leave it there just for a minute. So I'm going to come back to actually from the verse, the bar 17 there. So as you're going through, I would recommend, as we said, harmony parts, I'd take a breath during the lead, so I, definitely, and come in there. As you carry on through, though, you'll hear the quartet take a breath just right here on bar 22, start of page 2, just before the It's All About You. I'd do that, to be fair, but I would encourage the basses not to try and snatch a breath before the then. It's all about you. Then you is. I would keep it going basses rather than try and risk it. I'd push the end of that bar line, hit that downbeat on that then quite cleanly and in there. And as we go through, actually, I'm going to go for the next bars before I play another duet. The whispered in my ear and you told me to, said you make. I'd take the quartet often take a breath at that point. And I'd agree with that. It goes into a unison, as we can see on that said you on bar 28. Tenors on an octave, obviously. I'd take that breath. It works for the momentum within the triplet, but I would probably take out the breath they do after a while. Just that's all. That's probably all I'd say. With did I just stop sharing? That might be me. My apologies. Let's come back. There we go. So, then you whispered in my ear like you told me to, said you make my life worthwhile, it's all about you. I'd carry on through because you're going to get a breath anyway, but just before the and I would answer. I'd carry on through. It's not worth the snatch breath, especially with the lead's got this, said you make my life worthwhile. So, apologies, wrong note. On the while, the leads have a move, and so do the other parts do as well. It's too quick to snatch a breath in. I'd carry on through. Said you make my life worthwhile. It's all about you and I. So let's try it. We're going to go back to bar 17 actually, 36 seconds in, and we're going to hear just lead and baritone actually, because it's some nice moments in duets. And actually, for majority of this song, I'd probably say lead and Barry is probably the money duet in a lot of places, and bass tenor. If you're going to break it apart, to be fair, there's some lovely moments where they just get to swap notes and enjoy that. So this is lead and baritone from that bar 17, and I'll fast forward to that point.
1, 2.
Yesterday you asked me something I thought you knew. So I told you with a smile, it's all about you. Then you whispered in my ear and you told me to. Said you make my life worthwhile, it's all about you.
So you can hear, I mean, they do it, don't go wrong, they do it very well, taking that breath after a while. But for me, it probably isn't as worthwhile in a chorus making that choice. That's all it is. You make my life worthwhile. It's all about you, and carry on through. And to be fair, I just realised then they do it actually further on, don't they? Yesterday you asked me something I thought you knew, so I told you with a smile. And they take another breath. I'd probably carry on through. You're going to, top 3 parts, you're going to get a breath 2 bars later anyway. Told you with a smile, it's all about you. I'd probably write it on through there as well. Now I'm going to return the favour actually with the bass and tenor duet, just to hear how these 2 parts lock together from the same point though.
1.
Yesterday you asked me something I thought you knew. Told you with a smile, it's all about you. Then you whispered in my ear and you told me to. Said you make my life worthwhile, it's all about you.
There we go. It just works quite well as a duet here, and the roots and thirds sit on top. You can hear how it that moment I talked about the basses just on that pickup of then on bar 2, 3, 4, 12, 25. It's worth carrying on through for me because that stop of sound then even on the duet sounded not awkward, but just you were missing music, weren't you, just for that brief second? So I really would keep on through to land on that downbeat within that part. Cool. So I'm now going to go to actually this mid late. I'm going to switch to Barry bass this time because actually they get some lovely moments resting off each other and stealing each other's notes actually on this I Would Answer All His Wishes. So this is bass and baritone and I'm just at bar 32. That's where I'm going to be coming in on there. Once I've found the right track. That's the problem with duet tracks. I end up with so many on screen. I go, which one am I after? Come on. There we go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And I would answer all your wishes if you asked me to. You deny me one of your kisses, don't know what I'd do. So hold me close and say 3 words like you used to do. Dancing on the kitchen tiles, it's all about you.
And I'm going to stop before the bass melody. Sorry, Mike. I know we want to get into that. So we're going to see here then that duet there. So as we go from and I Will Answer All Your Wishes. Lovely thirds, couple of fifths thrown in. They seal each other's notes on all your wishes. Get a lovely octave on the if. You get to really cash in that as a duet for these mid late, certainly. Leaves we go through into the verse as well. Similar breath choices are made, and we can copy and paste that to go dancing on the kitchen tiles. It's all about you. Same thing. We get to ride over that breath. There's no point cutting it short as they can do there. And actually, I'd say the same for all the harmony parts on this. On there, actually, if you deny me one of your kisses, don't know what I do. So I would ride on through as a chorus there, especially for that bass move. Do so, hold me close. I wouldn't try and snatch a breath in. We ain't got time for within the tempo. I really would carry it on through, and we can make stagger breathing choices as the harmony parts. Leads, we're lucky. I know we get some extra breaths thrown in there. What have we got there? Cool. I'm going to go back actually to. I'm going to play. Again, trade it off because it's nice just to hear the contrast. We've heard bass and Barry. I'm going to go to lead and tenor actually from that bar 32. Once I've got, there we go. Slight
1, 2.
And I would answer all your wishes if you asked me to. But if you deny me one of your kisses, don't know what I'd do. So hold me close and say 3 words like you used to do. Dancing on the kitchen tiles, it's all about you. And
there we go. So we're getting to that. So you can hear just how lovely that duet works. There's some lovely glancing tone clashes between the parts. Leads, don't shy away from it. Tenors, don't get out of the way. Don't be apologetic. Make sure you certainly when you think of bar 38 there, you deny me one of your. Make sure you're staying constant. If the leads problem, if they mistune it, be true on that. You'll be absolutely fine. So leads, we get some little added breath moments, don't we? Those quaver rests just to add the timing in. Some of them may not be breaths. Some of them might just be stopping sound for rhythmic effect. That's okay too. You get plenty of opportunity to sneak those breaths in when you need them. Right, bass melody, bar 49. I'm actually going to play for the minute just the bass track because I love how Alex sings this. It's just gorgeous, isn't it? How he there's nothing forced. There's no bass on a power trip feeling. He's just a bass singer loving the melody at this point. So I'm just going to play the bass solo line actually from that point 134. Here we go.
1, 2, 3.
And about you, and I would answer all your wishes if you asked me to. But if you deny me one of your kisses, don't know what I do. So
as we hear then, he we make the choice. We don't try and snatch a breath in there. We carry straight from onto the key change. It's lovely, clear, just a lovely voice, isn't it? To hear that bass melody on there. That's one of the things wasn't in the original arrangement I did, to be fair, but it's just right for the bass at that point. Now I'm just going to very quickly play just lead and tenor. Actually, no, forgive me. I've changed my mind. I'm going to play bass and lead only, actually, partly because there's a note on here that's sung in the lead part that isn't on this music. So that I'm going to play it here and see if we can pick that out. So this is just lead and bass duet from the same point.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I would answer all your wishes if you asked me to.
That two, that's not on the music. So just for reference, on that if you ask me to, the lead has chosen to stay on the 2, on the D for one note longer and resolve with the bass. That's what happens. I didn't put it in there. They did it. I quite like it, just so you're aware. It is a discrepancy between the music and track at that point. So just be careful of that. If you ask me to, it works absolutely fine. It's a very tight clash with the tenors as they hit there too, but it works. Let me just play that one more time. For that, we'll carry on a little bit further. Slight run up.
Gentiles, it's all about you. And I would answer all your wishes if you asked me to. But if you deny me one of your kisses, don't know what I'd do. So
we get to that. Mike, have you got a question, Mike? Was that there?
Yes, I have, sir. Yeah, just wanted to clarify. What was what's the priority, the track or the score?
Well,
at that point that you're just talking about. At that point,
there's no reason not to go with the track.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I mean, it's very much. It's a very soloistic thing to throw in, and it works. Let's be fair. There's nothing. It's a glancing thing. It resolves quite nicely. I don't disagree with it. I just wasn't expecting it. If that makes sense. If that makes sense, it works absolutely fine. Yeah. But again, it's one of those things. As a chorus, decide whether you're doing it or not. If it's one of those, either all the leads do it, or none of them do. It's one of those. It's not really one of those things we can get away with some deciding to throw it in, and naturally, a lot of us would inadvertently follow the track anyway. Let's be fair. So I'd keep that in mind. So I want to be absolutely fine with that. So I'm actually going to go back to the same point one final time before we move on. But I'm going to take the bass out completely, just so we can hear that treble trio going on up top and how that slots in. Obviously, we'll hear that lead move yet again within this mix as well. So this is bass missing from the same point.
It's all about you, and I would answer all your wishes if you asked me to. You deny me one of your kisses, don't know what I'd do. So hold me close.
In bass really does give it more context, doesn't it, within the chords there of where the key change going. Without the bass, that's a fun thing to do. But it's worth tying that up because I mean, as bass as leads to a certain extent, it's a very baritone part, isn't it? Ooh, and I would answer all your wishes if you asked me to. It feels very much like a baritone part in that lead, and it's not a bad thing. It's okay. Trust me, as an ex-lead, it's not a problem. You'll be fine. So I'm now going to fast forward actually back into the new key. When the leads get their melody back finally from bar 57. But I'm actually going to play the one duet we haven't heard yet. And this is tenor and Barry actually from this point.
One, two, three.
I do. So hold me close and say 3 words like you used to do. Dancing on the kitchen tiles. Yes, you make my life worthwhile. Told you with a smile.
Now, I could argue on that for fine balancing, whether I want the baritone to be quieter or the tenor to be louder. And I'd probably go for tenor louder, actually, on that tone clash on Smile. It's weird hearing a duet out of context, isn't it? Lifted from the tracks, I know. But it's not a quiet bit of the song, I'd say. I really would. Told you with a smile. It's all about. There's a bit of a climax within that. But you can argue in this arrangement in the song, there isn't really a climax, and that's probably the next best thing, that moment right there that we got to on, was it 67, wasn't it, 66? So you get to enjoy that. Now, as we saw the dotted lines, if you've not seen that before, and I try to put Curtis things of baritone melody, but the dotted line gives you another hint that baritones, you had melody just then. It's very glancing, isn't it? Dancing on the kitchen tiles, yes, you make my life worthwhile. You get that one moment baritones to stand out there. You get to enjoy it. Okay, so let's go now for lead and bass instead. From the same point, actually, we're going to go from that just before few transition notes, the key change into that 57 just there.
One, two, three, four.
Don't know what I do, so hold me close and say 3 words like you used to do. Dancing on the kitchen tiles, yes, you make my life worthwhile. So I told you with a smile.
And again, leads, obviously Barry's had the melody on that dancing on the kitchen tiles and make my life worthwhile. It's a very baritone part we've got. The basses give you context. The basses will help you with exactly where to go. And even when you take the melody over, so I told you with a smile, that's the actual melody. It is the baritone kind of moment we get a lot of our arrangements at times, certainly in contest. But it is actually the melody line at that point. This is where Tom Fletcher does some lovely stuff that works very well in a cappella in our style, or hints at barbershop style, really. Some of those chords we get to, some of the melodies allow for these kind of choices, which is lovely to hear at that point. I'm now going to do, actually, because of that switch over, we talked about Barry's have melody, we talked about lead losing the melody and being more baritone-like. I'm going to play the same place again, but this is lead and baritone duet. Once I've found it, come on. There we go. Similar run up just before that key.
One.
Kisses don't know what I do, so hold me close and say 3 words like you used to do. Dancing on the kitchen tiles, yes, you make my life worthwhile. So I told you with a smile. It's all about.
And I'd probably make the audience and the leads wait to come in with that. It's all about. I think there is a pause there that isn't really written. Told you with a smile. It's all about. There's something to dwell there. There's something to enjoy. It's very soloistic. I mean, in a chorus, you'd be tempted. Oh, do you make one lead do it? Do you have that kind of? Do you have a solo do it at that point? It makes you wonder, doesn't it, for that kind of feeling there? Just to throw in as well, actually, another breath thing, just to comment on the track makes a call to go. Say 3 words like you used to do, dancing on the kitchen tiles. They take a breath after the tiles. I'd probably be tempted in chorus to roll it on through. The track takes one before dancing, as the baritones take the melody. That works. Say 3 words like you used to do, dancing on the kitchen tiles, yes, you make my life worthwhile. I think it's okay to carry on through there, because if we look at where it says lead melody just at the top of page 4, harmony parts get a breath anyway, and leads, you'll hear him take a snatch breath on the track before, so I told. He takes a breath there. That works for us as well, even in the chorus scenario. So I probably would, after tiles, I'd keep it on going. I think that would work. A breath does work there, but I'd be tempted just to keep the momentum going a bit longer, knowing how much we're going to be taking the mic in a second and how much we might just pull that tempo apart on that lead. It's all about. And then we get into bass melody again as we get that. So actually, I'm going to do the same thing again, but this time I'm just going to start off with no bass whatsoever, actually, from that moment there. We're going to be hearing the lead, it's all about, as we go into that. So this is bass missing, actually, for this back end of the song now. Forgive the pitch note.
1,
Help
2,
us now.
3, 4.
It's all about you. It's about you. It's all about you. It's about you, baby, you. It's about you. It's all about. It's all about. It's about you. It's all about you.
interesting without the bass part there, actually, how much that chord can ring in that kind of context. So just to talk about the breath points, actually, for the top three parts, as the basses have that final bit of melody. On the "It's All About You," you'll hear different parts making a call to take breaths at certain points. I'd match it all up, definitely, within those top three parts. It really is soloist and backing track at that point. So bar 69 carrying through, it's about you, it's all a you. I take a breath after that you, right there. So it's all about, you, it's about you, it's all a you, it's about you, baby, you. And I take a breath there as well, bang on bar 77 as well. And actually, the track does that. They do that on the track at that point, at 77. Before that, it'll be just after the "about you, baby, you." It's they do that. I'd emulate that, and I'd unify one breath beforehand as well. I mean, if you're able to carry on through, enjoy it. To be fair, it's kind of your call as a chorus to make as to whether you can keep that going all the way till that point. That's fine, but you'll probably need one more. I'd unify the top three rather than be more soloistic, as we hear on there as well. And actually, in this final bit, right at the bottom stanza, actually, where the tenors take the melody, I'd probably unify the breath just after this bout when the basses get it. So it's all about you, baby, you. It's about you, about you. They take a breath just before that "about you" here. I probably wouldn't, to be fair. I don't know. It's fun to have a play with. I'm undecided as to whether that would work with a group or not. I think it just depends on delivery and message as to whether that pulls off. So I'd play around with that. I wouldn't say that's in stone with the track necessarily, because it leaves the tenors a bit isolated, doesn't it, in that lower range? It's all about you. Leaves us a bit isolated on that just there. So I'd probably push on through, because again, we all get a unified breath in a second anyway. I don't think there's much to be gained by putting another breath in before. So that was bass missing. Let's do a bit of bass Barry for this last bit. All right, for time, that's fine. I'm going to fast forward to the same point.
1, 2,
Although the lead will be missing.
It's all about you. It's all about you, baby. It's all about you. It's all about you, baby. It's all about you. It's all about you, baby. It's about you. About you.
And again, they do that well with that rally in there, and how you really make the most of that before that final "it's all about you" in that as well. So let's do Return the Favour with lead tenor, actually, just so we can hear, just to help you hear actually some of the choices they're making in the breaths and how unifying I think would be a stronger choice there. Come on, lead tenor, here we go.
About you, it's about you. It's all of you. It's about you, baby, you. It's about you. It's all about. It's all about. It's about you. It's all about you.
That's quite well balanced there between the two parts. That is tenor melody, keep in mind, but leads, if we back off on that you just then, it's the same as the baritones got earlier on, actually, to be fair, at the top of the page. Just different, just the bass and Barry and lead have swapped over. That's all it is. But you've got to be same volume, same placement, same everything else. We're just left that one's not quite right with those tone clashes. So just don't shy away from leads. Tenors don't have to blast it, to be fair, but we're absolutely fine. Right then, I'm just going to play everyone in from that bass bit, actually. There we go.
One, two, three.
It's all about you. It's all about you. It's about you. It's all about you, baby. It's all about you. It's about you. It's all about you, baby. It's all about you. It's about you. It's all about you, baby. It's all about you. It's about you. It's all about you. It's all about you.
And I'd say there's a definite confidence the last chord. It doesn't have to be proper volume to you. It could be, to be fair, a play, but it doesn't feel with that unison. It's quite a strong unison to hear, isn't it? You hear how strongly the quartet do. It's all about. There's a confidence behind this. There's nothing to shy away from. It's intimate, but it doesn't have to be volume 2 for me to make that work. It's a comfortable 4. I'd say probably still in the 1 to 10 volume. It's got a very strength in that last chord as we get there. And there was something else I was going to say. Where was it? Yeah, be careful about copying the bass singer at the last moment of this, because we get this it's very solo and it works, but I'd be careful of that with a full chorus potentially, how lining up how much pitch bend we put on that. And I can see the chat buzzing a fraction. Let me just have a look. Oh, do you mean the duet tracks, Mike? Is that what you're... Cool. I can certainly make them available to somewhere. That's fine. I don't know if they do. I don't know if Babs have the duet tracks. That's just something I make for my own entertainment. So I don't know if they do. I might have sent them over. If not, I'll make sure that happens after this. Not a problem. I'm personally, especially on Zoom and stuff, making duet tracks. Your BandLab is just what I use online. Very useful, just for especially for critiquing like this and for giving through. So we're kind of up. Well, we're not 8 minutes past 1. We're about there. I was just going to play it all the way through, just so you can enjoy it. If you want to stand up, have a sing, we may as well. I'm going to play it all the way through. I'm going to take the music off screen because I don't think particularly we need to be staring at this. But actually, it's much more fun to be on gallery view. So if you're not on gallery view, if you're on speaker view, if you press view if you're on a laptop, top right hand side, and press gallery, you'll see everybody else and get to enjoy. It's absolutely fine. If you don't want to sing, don't worry. I'm not going to stare at you or spotlight you just to make the point. But just thought, let's play the whole thing through just to enjoy, really. And then we've got time for a few questions at the end, if there are any. So this is the full mix. Here we go. I better make sure I mute.
You need to share that sound.
That'll teach me. Here we go. There we go. Now the sound's there. Here we go again.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's all about you. It's about you. It's all about you, baby. It's all about you. It's about you. It's all about you. Yesterday you asked me something I thought you knew. So I told you with a smile, it's all about you. Then you whispered in my ear and you told me to. Said you make my life worthwhile, it's all about you. And I would answer all your wishes if you asked me to. But if you deny me one of your kisses, don't know what I'd do. So hold me close and say 3 words like you used to do. Dancing on the kitchen tiles, it's all about you. And I would answer all your wishes if you asked me to. But if you deny me one of your kisses, don't know what I'd do. So hold me close and say 3 words like you used to do. dancing on the kitchen tiles. Yes, you make my life worthwhile. So I told you with a smile. It's all about you. It's all about you. It's about you. It's all about you, baby. It's all about you. It's about you. It's all about you, baby. It's all about you. It's about you. It's all about you, baby. It's all about you. It's about you. It's all about you. It's all about you.
Cool, there we go. And actually, I just reminded myself of there's one discrepancy, a word discrepancy. There's only one. And just as I run through that, I thought, oh, there it is. I'd forgotten about that. So at the top of page 4, actually, just into that after the baritone melody, make my life worthwhile. So I told you with, now the music says this smile. On the track, they say a smile. I'd go with the track. We say it earlier on. I told you with a smile. It happens in the song already. I think officially it is told you with this smile. It suddenly becomes a bit more intimate within the message. Your call, track does one, this says the other. I wouldn't say there's much of a right or wrong. I don't think anyone's going to shoot you for it at a performance particularly, but just to be aware of between music and track, there's that discrepancy. And to be honest with you, I'll share this with you as well. The last chord, I think on different arrangements, I've changed my mind all the time, whether the lead should sing the octave with the bass or whether it should put a 9 in. You'll make it jazzy. I mean, you could probably have fun with that last chord, to be honest with you. I wouldn't say it works well clean, but depending on the group and depending on how well you do it, I think it would suit a bit of lead soloistic movement, even to be honest with you, on that last chord. Have fun with it, to be fair. Whichever makes it feel more, as long as it doesn't feel contrived within the message, as long as it feels intentional and believable, have fun with that last chord. Certainly thinking of the lead part with the added notes of the chord, I'd have fun. Let's stop that share then. And I think there's a chat question. Let's find out. Oh, cool. There we go. Okay. There we go, everybody. Just a bit of a whistle-stop tour through the arrangement.
Thank you, Zach.
Not a problem.
Yeah, thanks, Zach.
That's great, Zach. Thanks.
Cheers. Thank you.
Pleasure. That's fine.
It was
Happy to stick around and ask some questions.
Thanks, Zach.
This session was all actually, Zach, all about you, mate.
Well.
Don't tell me you forgot you on Valentine's Day, Mike.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't allow that to happen. Oh, dear.
I think that's a wrap then, Zach.
I believe
done,
so,
Zach.
yeah.
Brilliant.
Good.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
people.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
Cheers. Good to see you all.
You too.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks, Zach.